Hey everyone, today I want to talk about the first big DLC for Digimon Story Time Strangers, additional Digimon and Episode Pack 1, Alternate Dimensions, and whether it's actually worth the $30 or £30 Season Pass price tag. I'll keep this spoiler light, but I'm going to cover the overall story setup, gameplay, and value of the game. So, what is this DLC actually about? So, story-wise, Alternate Dimension sends your agent back to the in-between theater, where you get briefed on a new anomaly, the Akashic Backdoor, an extra-dimensional space outside the Iliad and a unusual flow of time, I suppose you'd call it. A mutant Digimon called Parallelmon is behind it, snatching humans and Digimon from parallel worlds and stitching them together into a kind of multiversal testing ground. You set up through this back door and bounce between distorted versions of places you already know, chunks of Tokyo like Vision Square and the government building from the actual game, bits of Iliad, underground bases, all linked together by the white doors and the surreal white hub. Along the way, you team up with your returning favourites like Kurumi and Kodai, dig into the past with Dr. Simmons, and eventually confront Parallelmon himself in a flashy final encounter. For me, the writing and the character work are the highlights here. The way the Digimon talk to each other, especially in the scenes with BlitzGreymon, CresGarurumon, and the Omnimon forms, really gave me that late 90s Digimon anime energy. It's got that mix of heartfelt speeches, corny but charming one-liners, and partners bickering and encouraging each other in a way that feels straight out the classic animes. If you wanted something that feels like a short style episode sort of set up inside Time Stranger's world, this absolutely hits that vibe. Structurally, it's a tight self-contained story, clear problem, a run linked cases inside the Akashic Backdoor, and some emotional flashbacks, and a satisfying wrap-up that still leaves the doors open for episodes 2 and 3. It took me about an hour or so for the main story run, not counting any extra grinding or new evolutions. On the gameplay side, the big selling point is the new Digivolution routes. The DLC Season Pass adds extra mega level options like BlitzGreymon, CresGarurumon, Omnimon Zort Defeat, Omnimon Alter B, and others, giving a bunch of existing Digimon entirely new branches instead of just recycling old endgame picks. That's a genuinely positive for the whole game itself, not just this one episode. These forms carry over into the rest of your save and add a fresh team building option and new high power toys to experiment with in the main game. So the boss section inside in the episode is fun too. You fight through waves of featuring high hitters like Goldramon, Megadramon, Mirage, Geogamon, I can never pronounce him right, Mistymon, and others as well. And eventually a big sequence comes centered around Omnimon Zort Defeat, evolving into Omnimon Alter B, before taking on Parallelmon itself. And you have a couple of other Digimon backing it up as well in the story, but I won't go over too much of the spoilers. In terms of spectacle, they definitely delivered. That said, even with all these big names on the field, difficulty is still a bit of a mixed bag. From my experience and talking to other people who played the game on Mega Plus difficulty, the DLC still leans on the easy side. Once your team is properly built, most fights boil down to the standard optimization. Rather than really having to rethink your strategy, it's more like a victory lap where you go and show off your Digimon than a brutal endgame gauntlet. That's not inherently bad, especially if you're here for the story and nostalgia more than a sweaty challenge, but if you are hoping for a serious difficulty spike, that's probably not going to scratch that itch. Presentation is where my feelings are a bit more complicated. On the positive side, the overall vibe of the DLC is great. The way scenes are framed and the use of familiar music tones and the anime style banter between the Digimon really sells the idea that you are on a special side, a special adventure, and a new hub style of the white space and the circular corridor filled with floating memory bubbles are visually striking the first time you see them, and they fit the concept of a broken space between timelines. But the DLC does reuse a lot of environments from the main game. Most of your actual dungeon crawling is done through these areas you've already seen: Shinjuku, the government building, underground bases, the park, with a white door just dropped in each location. Okay, so now we're in this area. I'm looking for another white door. There it is. And it kind of just marks the Akashic Backdoor content starts and ends. Reusing assets in a big RPG is totally normal, and I don't expect every episode to ship with a full set of brand new zones. But I still walked away a bit disappointed that the only true new area is basically a big white room and a hub space. It's not that the white hub looks bad, it fits the concept, but when you are paying for a special episode, it stands out the most, and what you are walking through is recycled from the base game with a different context. It makes the episodes feel more like a polished case stitched into an existing space rather than a completely fresh adventure space on its own. If you love those locations already, you might not mind this, but if you were picturing entirely new maps or entirely new zones, you're probably going to feel a little bit let down. Voice acting is another almost great area. A lot of these key scenes are voiced. You hear Kaomi and the other characters in the story as well. The Digimon add the tone of personality, but not every important cutscene gets voice work. You have stretches while characters are fully voiced, and then suddenly a story relevant moment is delivered in silence, which is just text boxes. It's jarring, especially in a paid DLC where the emotional beats would have landed much harder with a full performance. It feels like they were close to going all in on the voice acting and then just kind of stopped short. And this leads into the big sticking point, the value. So the season pass is about $30 or £30 for these 3 episode packs, with the pass listed around $29.99. So you're looking roughly $10 per story, plus the longer term bonus of additional Digimon and the farm item. If you, like me, and you cleared the episode's main story in about an hour, that means you're paying pretty premium price for a fairly short, mostly linear slice of content that you can absolutely stretch out by grinding and experimentation with the new evolutions. But the actual stories chunks feel closer to a one-sitting anime special than a full extra chapter. To be clear, the new Digimon and evolution routes do help justify things, because you keep using those forms long after you clear the alternate dimensions, but I cannot pretend that it doesn't feel steep. It's a short episode that reuses most of the environments, adds one simple new hub area, and only particularly commits to full voice acting. So where do I stand on the alternate dimensions as a whole? Honestly, I would call it good. Enjoyable. The DLC episode has real heart, but it's been held back by its price and some production shortcuts. If you are already invested in Digimon Story Time Strangers, you care about Kaomi and the other characters in the game, and you want more character focused content that leans into the classic 1990s Digimon anime feel, this DLC absolutely delivers. The writing and it's nostalgia, and it's got that tone as well. And the new Digimon forms are a clear win. Watching Omnimon Zord defeat become Omnimon Alter B, experimenting with BlitzGreymon and CresGarurumon, and seeing your team banter like it's 1999 again is genuinely satisfying. On the other hand, if you are mainly here for the challenging endgame content, big new environments, or lots of hours per dollar or per pound, alternate dimensions will leave you feeling underwhelmed. The reused maps, the mostly but not fully voice acted scenes, and relatively short runtime stands out when you remember what you paid for the whole season pass to get it. My personal recommendation would be, if you love Digimon Story Time Strangers and you're in it for the long haul, this is a nice extra chapter for a solid branch of new Digimon that slot well into the main game. If you're more price sensitive or still on the fence, it might be worth waiting for episodes 2 and 3 to stack up, or grabbing the season pass on sale, so the cost feels more in line with what content you're going to get. Either way, alternate dimension is a promising start that catches the spirit of Digimon really well. I just wish the amount of new content and the presentation fully matched how good the ideas and the characters are. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below what you think of the DLC itself. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, because it does help my channel out a lot to get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.